Numbers 1. The summoning of the hosts of Israel. In the wilderness of Sinai, beneath the shadow of the holy mountain, the voice of the Lord thundered to Moses in the tabernacle of the congregation. It was the first day of the second month, in the second year after their exodus from Egypt. Take the sum of all the congregation, the Lord commanded, every man by his tribe, by his father's house, every male from 20 years old and upward, all who go forth to war in Israel. And so Moses obeyed, together with Aaron the high priest, and one chief from each tribe, a prince among his people. These were the chosen leaders of the tribes of Israel: Reuben, Eliezer son of Shedeur; Simeon, Shelumiel son of Zurishaddai; Judah, Nahshon son of Amminadab; Issachar, Nethaneel son of Zuar; Zebulun, Eliab son of Helon; Ephraim of Joseph, Elishama son of Ammihud; Manasseh, Gamaliel son of Pedazur; Benjamin, Abidan son of Gideoni; Ahiezer son of Ammishaddai; Asher, Pagel son of Ochran-Gad; Eliasaph son of Dual Naphtali; Ahira son of Enan. Each man stood with his tribe, and the count began, by families, by names, every warrior numbered. And these were the tallies of the 12 tribes of Israel: Reuben, 46,500; Simeon, 59,300; Gad, 45,650; Judah, 74,600; Issachar, 54,400; Zebulun, 57,400; Ephraim, 40,500; Manasseh, 32,200; Benjamin, 35,400; Asher, 41,500; Naphtali, 53. Total of all that were able to go to war in Israel, 603,550. But the tribe of Levi was not numbered among them. For the Lord had spoken, saying, "Do not count the tribe of Levi, nor take their sum among the children of Israel." To the Levites was given a holy charge, to tend the tabernacle of the testimony, to guard its sacred vessels, to camp round it like a living wall of reverence. When the camp moved, the Levites would take it down. When it rested, they would raise it up. Any outsider who came near would be put to death. Thus Israel camped by their standards, tribe by tribe, each by the ensign of their father's house. But the Levites dwelled close to the tabernacle, standing watch in sacred service. And Moses and Aaron obeyed the voice of the Lord, and Israel stood as one, arrayed for war, marked by name, tribe, and calling. So began the numbering of the hosts of God, not merely a census, but a summons to destiny. Every name written, every warrior called, each tribe ordered by divine command, awaiting the march through the wilderness toward promise and fire. Numbers 2, the divine order of the camp. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Every man of Israel shall pitch by his standard, under the banner of his father's house. Around the tabernacle of the congregation shall they camp, each in their place, each in order. To the east, toward the rising sun, camped the standard of Judah, the first to march in battle. Under Judah stood Judah, 74,600, led by Nahshon son of Amminadab. Issachar, 54,400, led by Nethaneel son of Zuar. Zebulun, 57,400, led by Eliab son of Helon. Total of the eastern host, 186,400, moving first when the camp set forth. To the south, beneath the banner of Reuben, the sons of might made camp. Reuben, 46,500, led by Eliezer son of Shedeur. Simeon, 59,300, led by Shelumiel son of Zurishaddai. Gad, 45,650, led by Eliasaph son of Dual. Total of the southern host, 151,450, the second to move. At the heart of the camp, between the east and west, north and south, stood the Levites, guardians of the tabernacle of the testimony, bearing the sacred burden when Israel journeyed. No tribe encamped nearer. No outsider drew close under penalty of death. They were the hinge of movement, the sacred center. To the west, the standard of Ephraim flew in the winds of the wilderness. Ephraim, 40,500, led by Elishama son of Ammihud. Manasseh, 32,200, led by Gamaliel son of Pedazur. Benjamin, 35,400, led by Abidan son of Gideon. Total of the western host, 108,100, third in the march. To the north, under the banner of Dan, defenders of the rear guard took their place. Dan, 62,700, led by Ahiezer son of Ammishaddai. Asher, 41,500, led by Pagiel son of Ochran. Naphtali, 53,400, led by Ahira son of Enan. Total of the northern host, 157,600. They journeyed last, a watchful guard behind the company. Thus the whole host of Israel was numbered, 603,550 warriors, not including the tribe of Levi. And they camped as the Lord had commanded, 4 banners for 12 tribes, each by family, each by name, encircling the tabernacle of the covenant. In the wilderness, there was no chaos. Each tribe marched in divine formation. The camp of Israel was a living order, a sacred army arrayed around the presence of God. Not one step was taken without command. Not one banner flew without meaning. In the wilderness of dust and flame, God dwelt at the center, and Israel moved as one.
Numbers 3, the Levites set apart. These are the generations of Aaron and Moses when the Lord spoke on Mount Sinai. Aaron's sons were Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Itamar. But Nadab and Abihu, having offered strange fire before the Lord, died without children. So Eleazar and Itamar ministered as priests under Aaron. And the Lord said to Moses, "Bring the tribe of Levi near. Set them before Aaron the priest to serve him. They shall keep charge of the tabernacle, ministering to it and standing guard over all its furnishings. They are given wholly to Aaron and his sons from among the children of Israel. And behold, said the Lord, I have taken the Levites instead of all the firstborn of Israel. The Levites are mine. For every firstborn belongs to God. Since the day he struck down all the firstborn of Egypt, he set apart the firstborn of Israel, both man and beast, as his own. Yet now the Levites are taken in place of the firstborn, a sacred exchange. The numbering of the Levites, by their fathers' houses. Gershon, the eldest, 7,500 males, age 1 month and up. They camped westward. Their charge was the tabernacle covering, curtains, hangings, and cords. Kohath, 8,600 males. They camped on the south. They were guardians of the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, and the vessels of the sanctuary. Merari, 6,200 males. They camped northward. Their charge was the boards, bars, pillars, sockets, and all structural elements of the tabernacle. To Eleazar, son of Aaron, was given oversight of the Levites. He stood as chief over all their sacred duties. And on the east, before the tabernacle entrance, camped Moses, Aaron, and his sons, charged with guarding the sanctuary and performing the duties of the priesthood. Any outsider who drew near would be put to death. The total number of Levite males from 1 month old and upward, 22,000. Then the Lord commanded Moses, "Number all the firstborn males of Israel from 1 month and upward, and take the Levites instead." The number of Israel's firstborn, 22,273. Thus the Levites stood in place of the firstborn, but 273 remained. For them, God commanded a ransom, 5 shekels per head, silver weighed by the sanctuary shekel. The ransom money, 1,365 shekels, was given to Aaron and his sons, as the Lord had spoken. So the tribe of Levi was set apart, living offerings in place of the firstborn of all Israel. The sanctuary was encircled by those chosen not by bloodline, but by divine appointment. They bore the burdens of the holy place, stood as guardians of the sacred flame, and served at the threshold of God's presence. A nation moved, a priesthood watched, and the tabernacle stood at the center of it all.
Numbers 4, the sacred burden bearers. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Take account of the sons of Levi by clans and households, those from 30 to 50 years old, all who are able to serve in the work of the tabernacle of the congregation." The Kohathites, from the line of Levi's son Kohath, were charged with the most sacred things. When the camp was to move, Aaron and his sons would enter the holy place. They were to cover the Ark of the Covenant with the veil, then with goat skins, then with a blue cloth, and insert the carrying poles. The table of the showbread was to be covered with blue, with bread, dishes, bowls, and cups placed on it. Over that, a scarlet cloth, then covering it all with skins. The lampstand with its lamps, tongues, snuffers, and oil vessels was to be covered in blue, wrapped in skins, and placed on a bar to carry. The golden altar of incense was to be wrapped in blue and covered in skins. All holy instruments of ministry were to be prepared and wrapped. Once Aaron and his sons had finished covering the sanctuary, then the Kohathites could approach to carry, but they must not touch the holy things, or they would die. Eleazar, son of Aaron, was given oversight of the oil for the light, incense, daily grain offerings, and the anointing oil, as well as the tabernacle and all within it. The Gershonites were charged with the hangings, curtains, coverings, and cords of the tabernacle. They were to carry and serve under the authority of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. The Merarites were entrusted with the boards, bars, pillars, sockets, and pegs, the structural frame of the tabernacle. They too served under Ithamar's direction. And Moses, Aaron, and the leaders of Israel numbered them by clan. Kohathites, 2,750 men, strong and ready for the holy work. Gershonites, 2,630 men, guardians of the woven veils. Merarites, 3,200 men, carriers of the sanctuary's weight. Total Levites chosen for the work of the tabernacle between 30 and 50 years of age, 8,580 men. Each man was assigned his burden and his duty. No task was arbitrary, no calling light. As the Lord commanded Moses, so was each tribe appointed. And so the holy machinery of God's dwelling was entrusted to mortal hands. The Levites bore not just weight, but wonder, moving with reverence through desert paths, carrying the sacred heart of Israel's worship. A generation of chosen men moved as one, bearing the presence of the Almighty across the wilderness.
Numbers 5, Purging the camp, judgment and jealousy. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel to cast out the defiled from the camp, every leper, every one with an issue, and all who are unclean by touching the dead. So the people obeyed. Those who bore the stain of death or disease were sent beyond the tents, that the camp, where God himself dwelt, might remain holy. If a man or a woman sinned against another, betraying the Lord by trespass, that soul was guilty. Restitution must be made in full, with an added fifth part returned to the wronged. If the wronged had no next of kin, the repayment went to the Lord, alongside the ram of atonement. Every offering belonged to the priest a sacred recompense. Then the Lord declared the law of jealousy. If a man suspects his wife of unfaithfulness, though there be no witness and she is not caught, he shall bring her before the priest with a grain offering of jealousy, no oil, no frankincense, just bitter remembrance. The priest shall take holy water in an earthen vessel, and dust from the tabernacle floor. He shall uncover the woman's head, place the grain offering in her hands, and swear an oath before her. If you are innocent, let these bitter waters pass harmless. But if you have defiled yourself and broken covenant with your husband, may the Lord make you a curse among the people. May your belly swell and your thigh rot. The priest shall write the curses in a book, wash them into the water, and make the woman drink the bitter draught. If she is guilty, her body shall bear the mark, and shame shall fall upon her. If innocent, she shall be free, and may conceive seed. This was the law of jealousy. A ritual for uncovering hidden sin, when passion burned and trust had died. A way to vindicate the innocent or expose betrayal when no man could judge. Thus did the Lord cleanse his people, body, heart, and home. Truth, purity, and reverence were commanded. And no corruption, whether hidden in skin or secret in soul, was permitted to dwell where his presence burned.
Number 6, the Nazirite vow and the priestly blessing. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, When a man or a woman vows the vow of a Nazirite, to separate themselves unto me, they shall abstain from wine and strong drink, from vinegar and grapes in all forms, fresh or dried. They shall touch no razor to their head, for the days of their consecration are holy. Their locks shall grow long, a crown of separation to the Lord. They shall not defile themselves by the dead, even for father or mother. If any die suddenly beside them, and their vow is defiled, they must offer 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons for atonement, and begin their vow anew. When the days of their dedication are fulfilled, they shall come to the door of the tabernacle and offer a burnt offering, a lamb without blemish, a sin offering, a ewe without blemish, a peace offering, a ram without blemish, a basket of unleavened bread, cakes mingled with oil, and wafers. The priest shall present these offerings before the Lord. The Nazirite shall then shave their head at the door of the tabernacle, casting the hair into the fire under the peace offering. The priest shall wave the offerings as a holy portion. After this, the Nazirite may return to ordinary life. Yet even after their vow ends, what they vowed to the Lord is holy, and they must fulfill it in full. Then the Lord spoke again to Moses. Speak to Aaron and his sons, and say, This is how you shall bless the children of Israel. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee, and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee, and give thee peace. Thus the name of the Lord shall be placed upon the children of Israel, and he will bless them. In silence and sacred vow, in hair grown long and lips sealed from wine, the Nazirite walked a holy path, consecrated in body and soul, and through priestly words of light and peace, God's presence settled over the people like a benediction unbroken.
Number 7, the dedication of the altar and the gifts of the princes. In the day when Moses finished setting up the tabernacle, anointed and sanctified it, the leaders of Israel, heads of their tribes, princes over thousands, came with offerings. Each brought gifts for the dedication of the altar. They presented 6 covered wagons and 12 oxen, 2 princes per wagon, each with an ox. Moses received the gifts and gave them to the Levites. The sons of Gershon received 2 wagons and 4 oxen. The sons of Merari received 4 wagons and 8 oxen. The sons of Kohath received none, for their sacred duty was to bear the holy things on their shoulders. Then, on 12 consecutive days, each prince brought forth their offering for the dedication of the altar, 1 liter per day. Day 1, Nashon of Judah. Day 2, Nethaneel of Issachar. Day 3, Eliab of Zebulun. Day 4, Eliezer of Reuben. Day 5, Shelumiel of Simeon. Day 6, Eliasaph of Gad. Day 7, Elishama of Ephraim. Day 8, Gamaliel of Manasseh. Day 9, Avidan of Benjamin. Day 10, Ahiezer of Dan. Day 11, Pagiel of Asher. Day 12, Ahara of Naphtali. Each prince brought the same offering. 1 silver charger, 130 shekels. 1 silver bowl, 70 shekels. Both filled with fine flour mingled with oil for a grain offering. 1 golden spoon, 10 shekels, filled with incense. 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 male lamb of the first year for a burnt offering. 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering. 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 lambs of the first year for a peace offering. These 12 offerings, though identical in measure, rose before the Lord as individual tributes of devotion, day after day. The total offering for the altar dedication: 12 silver chargers, 12 silver bowls, 12 golden spoons. Total silver, 2,400 shekels. Total gold, 120 shekels. 12 bullocks, 12 rams, 12 lambs for burnt offerings. 12 kids for sin offerings. 24 oxen, 60 rams, 60 goats, 60 lambs for peace offerings. And when the altar was fully dedicated, Moses entered the tabernacle, and there he heard the voice of the Lord speaking to him from above the mercy seat, between the cherubim on the Ark of the Covenant. One by one, the princes approached. 12 days. 12 offerings. Unity in sacrifice. Majesty in order. And from the place of mercy, the voice of God spoke. Not in thunder or whirlwind, but in the stillness of the holy place.
Numbers 8, the lamps, the Levites, and the call to serve vow. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, Speak to Aaron, that he light the 7 lamps upon the golden candlestick. Aaron did as commanded. The lamps blazed, casting holy light forward, illuminating the sacred. Then the Lord set apart the tribe of Levi. They were not chosen by bloodline alone, but by divine calling, set apart to stand in place of all the firstborn of Israel, as a living offering to the Lord. Purify them, the Lord said. So Moses gathered them and made them ready, sprinkled water of purification upon them, They shaved all flesh and washed their clothes. They offered a sin offering and a burnt offering before the Lord. Before the congregation of Israel, the Levites stood. The people laid their hands upon them, and Aaron lifted them before the Lord as an offering from the children of Israel to do the service of the tabernacle, cleansed, consecrated, called. The Levites came to minister, not for glory but for sacred duty. And the Lord declared, "They are wholly given unto me from among the children of Israel. I have taken them in place of all the firstborn, for every firstborn among the Israelites is mine. On the day I smote the firstborn in Egypt, I sanctified them to myself, but I have chosen the Levites instead." The Levites were not their own. They belonged to the Lord, appointed beneath Aaron and his sons, to guard, to serve, and to keep what was holy within the tent of meeting. Age set the bounds of service. From 25 to 50 years, a man might serve in the work. After 50, he would retire, not cast aside, but to assist and guard, not labor. And so the lamps were lit, the servants purified, and the fire of obedience burned in the hearts of those called. The Levites stood not for themselves, but in the place of many, as a living echo of God's mercy in Egypt, bearing the burdens of the holy place in silence and reverence. Numbers 9, the cloud, the Passover, and the command to follow you. In the wilderness of Sinai, the voice of the Lord thundered once more. It was the first month of the second year since Israel's exodus, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Let the children of Israel keep the Passover at its appointed time." So at twilight on the 14th day of the month, the people obeyed. They remembered the night when death passed over and freedom came. Yet some among them were defiled by the dead and could not partake in the sacred feast. They approached Moses asking, "Why are we kept from offering the Lord's gift?" Moses sought the Lord, and the answer came, "If any man is unclean by reason of death or on a journey far off, he shall still keep the Passover on the 14th day of the second month at evening. He shall eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. None of it shall remain until morning. No bone shall be broken. They shall keep it according to all the ordinances." But the warning was clear. The man who is clean and not on a journey yet refuses the Passover, his soul shall be cut off. The same law shall apply to the stranger and to the native born. Thus was mercy extended and obedience demanded. No heart excused, no soul forgotten. Then came the cloud, a veil of glory above the tabernacle, the tent of testimony. By day, a covering of cloud, and by night, a pillar of fire. It was not mere symbol, but divine signal. When the cloud lifted, the people moved. When it settled, they pitched their tents. Whether the cloud rested for a day, a week, or a year, they waited. They did not journey unless the Lord commanded. Day and night, through wilderness and silence, the children of Israel learned to trust not in their own wisdom, but in the guidance of God. The pillar burned, the cloud hovered, and the people watched. He led them by sign, not by map, by presence, not by reason. In the keeping of the Passover, they remembered the past. In the watching of the cloud, they lived in the present. And in both they followed the God who redeems and leads, by fire in the night and cloud in the day. Numbers 10, silver trumpets and the march of the host. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, "Forge 2 trumpets of beaten silver, clarion voices to summon the congregation and to set the camp in motion. When both are blown, all the assembly shall gather at the door of the tabernacle. When one is sounded, only the leaders shall come near. The trumpets shall call the people to war, to feasts, to journeying, and to remembrance. In battle they shall sound the alarm, and I, the Lord your God, will remember you and save you. In times of gladness and solemn feasts, over your burnt offerings and sacrifices, sound the trumpets in joy. Let the silver sound rise as a memorial before me. Then, in the second year, in the second month, on the 20th day, the cloud lifted from the tabernacle of testimony. The trumpet call went forth, shrill across the desert. The journey began. From Sinai's shadow, the tribes of Israel moved out, tribe by tribe, rank by rank. Judah led the charge, with Issachar and Zebulun in tow. Then the tabernacle was taken down, and the sons of Gershon and Merari bore its frame and hangings. Reuben, with Simeon and Gad, followed next. The Kohathites marched with the sacred things, holy burdens upon their shoulders. Then came Ephraim with Manasseh and Benjamin. Lastly, Dan and his rear guard, with Asher and Naphtali, closed the ranks of the host. Each tribe moved in order, under their standard in disciplined march. Moses then spoke to Hobab, his Midianite brother-in-law, "Come with us, and we will do you good, for the Lord has promised good to Israel." But Hobab hesitated. He would return to his land and kindred. Moses pleaded, "You know the wilderness. You will be our eyes. If you go with us, whatever good the Lord does to us, we will share with you." And so they journeyed, 3 days from Sinai, the Ark of the Covenant leading ahead, a beacon, a vanguard. The cloud hovered above by day, the fire burned by night. And when the ark moved, Moses cried, "Rise up, O Lord, let your enemies be scattered, let those who hate you flee before you." And when it rested, he said, "Return, O Lord, unto the many thousands of Israel." Thus Israel marched, not by ambition, but by divine command, not by conquest, but covenant. Silver trumpets called them forward, cloud and fire held their peace, and the God of Sinai led them through the silence of the sands. Numbers 11, fire, flesh, and fury. The people murmured, and the Lord heard. His anger was kindled, and fire fell among them, consuming the outskirts of the camp. They cried to Moses, he prayed, and the fire was quenched. That place was called Taberah, for the Lord's fire had burned there. But lust still stirred. The mixed multitude among them hungered. "Who shall give us flesh to eat?" they wailed. "We remember the fish in Egypt, the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic. But now our soul is dried away. All we see is this manna." This manna, like coriander seed and bdellium, was gathered daily, ground, baked, and tasted like fresh oil. Yet they despised it. Moses heard the people weep in every tent. The Lord was very angry. Moses, overwhelmed, cried out, "Why have you afflicted your servant? Why have I not found favor in your sight, that you lay the burden of all this people upon me? Did I conceive them? Am I their nurse, that I should carry them to the land you swore? Where can I find meat for all these people? I cannot bear this alone. It is too heavy for me. If this is how you deal with me, then kill me now." The Lord answered with mercy and judgment. He said, "Gather 70 elders. I will take of the Spirit upon you and place it upon them, and they shall bear the burden with you." And the Lord said, "Say to the people, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow you shall eat flesh. You have wept, saying, 'Who will give us meat?' I shall give it, not for 1 day, nor 2, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and you loathe it, because you have despised the Lord who is among you." Moses asked, "Shall flocks and herds be slain? Shall all the fish of the sea suffice?" The Lord replied, "Is the Lord's hand shortened? You shall see if my word will come to pass." So Moses gathered the 70 elders. The Lord descended in a cloud, and took of the Spirit on Moses, placing it upon the elders, and they prophesied. 2 men, Eldad and Medad, remained in the camp, and the Spirit came upon them too. A young man ran to tell Moses, and Joshua said, "My lord Moses, forbid them." But Moses said, "Do you envy for my sake? Would God that all the Lord's people were prophets." Then the wind of the Lord blew, and quails came from the sea, covering the camp for miles, waist deep. The people gathered greedily. Day and night they gathered. But while the flesh was yet between their teeth, the wrath of the Lord struck. A great plague fell upon them. That place was called Kibroth Hattavah, the graves of lust, for there they buried the people that craved. From there the camp journeyed to Hazeroth.
Numbers 12, the cloud and the leper. Miriam and Aaron rose in rebellion. Their complaint was cloaked in concern, but driven by jealousy. Has the Lord spoken only by Moses? Has he not also spoken by us? Their grievance? Moses had married an Ethiopian woman. But the Lord heard. Now Moses was very meek, more than any man alive. Yet heaven would not remain silent. The Lord suddenly called, "Come out, all three of you, to the tabernacle of the congregation." And they came, hearts gripped with awe. The Lord descended in a pillar of cloud and stood at the tabernacle door. Aaron and Miriam were summoned forward. "Hear now my words," the Lord thundered. "If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known in a vision or dream. But not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak mouth to mouth, clearly and not in riddles. He beholds the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant?" The anger of the Lord burned hot. And the cloud lifted. Miriam stood, white as snow, leprous. Aaron turned and saw her affliction. In anguish he cried to Moses, "Alas, my Lord, I beg you, do not lay this sin upon us. Let her not be as one dead, her flesh half consumed." Moses, ever meek, ever merciful, cried to the Lord, "Heal her now, O God, I beseech thee." The Lord answered, "If her father had spit in her face, should she not be shamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and afterward she shall be received again." So Miriam was cast out, alone in her uncleanness, outside the camp's edge, while Israel waited. For 7 days, the camp did not journey, until Miriam was brought in again. Then the cloud lifted, and the people moved on from Hazeroth to the wilderness of Paran.
Numbers 13, Spies in the land of giants. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I give to the children of Israel, 1 man from each tribe, a leader among them." So Moses obeyed. From the wilderness of Paran 12 were chosen, heads of their tribes. Among them, Caleb of Judah and Hoshea son of Nun, whom Moses called Joshua. Moses sent them to Canaan and charged them, "Go up through the south into the mountains, see what the land is, its people strong or weak, few or many. Is the land good or bad? Are the cities camps or fortresses? Is the soil rich or barren? Are there trees? Be of good courage, bring back fruit from the land." It was the season of the first ripe grapes. So they went and passed through the land from the wilderness of Zin to Rehob. They ascended through Hebron, where the giants dwelled, Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, descendants of Anak. In the valley of Eshcol, they cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes, so large it took 2 men to carry it. They also took pomegranates and figs. After 40 days of spying the land, they returned. They came to Moses, Aaron, and the congregation in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. They brought back word and fruit and said, "We went to the land you sent us. Surely it flows with milk and honey. This is its fruit. Nevertheless, the people are strong. The cities are walled and very great. The Amalekites dwell in the south, the Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites in the mountains, the Canaanites by the sea and the Jordan." But Caleb silenced the people before Moses and declared, "Let us go up at once and possess it. We are well able to overcome it." Yet the other spies, the 10, brought a slander against the land. "We are not able to go against this people. They are stronger than we. The land devours its inhabitants. We saw giants there, the sons of Anak. We were as grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in theirs." And fear spread like wildfire among the tribes. Numbers 14, Rebellion, Judgment, and Mercy in the Wilderness. That night the people lifted their voices and wept. Grumbling rose like thunder across the camp. "All would have been better in Egypt, or dead in this wilderness. Why has the Lord brought us here to fall by the sword, our wives and children taken captive? Let us appoint a leader and return to Egypt." Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the assembly. But Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh, who had spied the land, tore their clothes in anguish. They cried out, "The land is exceedingly good. If the Lord delights in us, he will give it to us. Do not rebel. Do not fear the people. They are bread for us. Their protection is gone. The Lord is with us." But the people answered with stones. Then the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle. And the Lord said to Moses, "How long will this people provoke me? How long will they not believe me, despite all my signs? I will strike them and disinherit them. I will make from you a greater, mightier nation." But Moses pleaded, "Then the nations will hear it and say, 'The Lord was not able to bring them in.' Let your strength be shown. You are long-suffering, abundant in mercy, forgiving iniquity, though you do not clear the guilty. Pardon this people, as you have done from Egypt until now." And the Lord replied, "I have pardoned according to your word. But as I live, all the earth shall be filled with my glory. None of those who saw my glory and my signs, and still tempted me these 10 times, shall see the land. Only Caleb, who had another spirit and followed fully, shall enter it, he and his descendants." Then the Lord declared, "Turn back to the wilderness by the Red Sea. Your children, whom you said would be prey, shall enter the land, but not you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness. For every day you search the land, a year shall you wander, 40 years of wandering for 40 days of unbelief." The 10 spies who brought the evil report died by plague, but Caleb and Joshua lived. When the people heard these words, they mourned deeply. They rose early and ascended the hill, saying, "We will go to the land, we have sinned." But Moses warned, "The Lord is not among you, you shall be defeated." Still they went up presumptuously, without the ark, without Moses. The Amalekites and Canaanites descended like a storm and drove them back, beaten and broken. Numbers 15, Offerings, Atonement, and the Fringe of Remembrance. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "When you come into the land I give you, you shall offer gifts and sacrifices, burnt offerings, vows, and freewill offerings, sweet aromas unto me. Whether a native or a stranger among you, the law is the same. One statute shall bind you all forever. With each lamb, prepare flour and oil, and pour out wine as a drink offering. For rams and bullocks, increase the portions, according to the measure of the gift. So shall your offerings rise like fragrance before the Lord. If the entire congregation sins through ignorance, let all bring one young bull, a burnt offering with grain and wine, and a male goat as a sin offering. The priest shall make atonement for all, and they shall be forgiven. But if one sins presumptuously, whether native-born or stranger, he reproaches the Lord and must be cut off, for he has despised the word of God and broken his commandment. And behold, as they journeyed in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. They brought him before Moses, Aaron, and all the congregation. He was held in custody, for the judgment had not yet been revealed. And the Lord said to Moses, "He shall surely be put to death. The congregation shall stone him outside the camp." And so it was done, as the Lord commanded. Then the Lord spoke again to Moses. "Speak to the children of Israel. Make fringes on the corners of your garments throughout your generations. Bind a thread of blue in the fringe. When you look upon it, remember all my commandments and do them. Do not follow your own heart or eyes, after which you go astray. This shall be a mark to remember who you are, holy unto your God. For I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord." Number 16, the earth opens and swallows rebellion. Then rose up Korah, a Levite, joined by Dathan, Abiram, and On, sons of Reuben, men of renown. They gathered 250 leaders of Israel and rebelled against Moses and Aaron. They cried, "You take too much upon yourselves. All the congregation is holy. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord?" When Moses heard it, he fell on his face. He said to Korah and all his company, "Tomorrow the Lord will show who is his. Bring censers, put fire and incense in them, and the Lord will choose whom he desires." To Korah he said, "Is it a small thing to you that the God of Israel has set you apart as Levites, yet now you seek the priesthood also?" Then Moses summoned Dathan and Abiram, but they refused to come. "You brought us from a land of milk and honey only to kill us in the wilderness. Will you also make yourself a prince over us?" Moses was very angry. He said to the Lord, "Respect not their offering." The next day, Korah and his company came with censers in hand, incense rising before the tabernacle. The glory of the Lord appeared to all. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Separate yourselves that I may consume them in a moment." But they fell on their faces, crying, "O God, shall one man's sin cause you to destroy all?" Then the Lord commanded, "Speak to the congregation. Depart from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." Moses rose and went to them. He warned the people, "Touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in their sin." They fled from the dwellings of the rebels. And Moses declared, "If these men die a natural death, the Lord has not sent me. But if the earth opens its mouth and swallows them alive, then you shall know they have provoked the Lord." As he finished speaking, the ground split beneath them. The earth opened her mouth and swallowed them, their households, and all their goods. They went down alive into the pit. The earth closed again, and they perished. Then fire came out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who offered incense. The Lord told Moses, "Tell Eleazar the priest to take the censers from the blaze, for they are holy. Hammer them into plates for a covering of the altar, a sign to the children of Israel." Yet on the next day the people murmured again, saying, "You have killed the people of the Lord." A plague broke out among them. Moses told Aaron, "Take a censer and make atonement for the people." Aaron ran into the midst of the congregation, stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. 14,700 perished, besides those who died with Korah. Number 17, the blossoming of authority. Still the murmurings of Israel echoed in the wilderness. Even after fire consumed the rebels and the earth swallowed the defiant, the people cried, "Moses and Aaron, slay the people of the Lord." Judgment had fallen, but doubt remained. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak unto the children of Israel. Take from them 12 rods, one from each tribe. Write every man's name upon his rod. Upon the rod of Levi, write Aaron's name, for one rod shall represent the head of each tribe. Lay them in the tabernacle of the congregation before the ark of the testimony, where I meet with you. There shall my choice be known. The man whom I choose, his rod shall bud. Thus I will silence the murmurings of the people, lest they die." So Moses obeyed. 12 rods were gathered from the leaders of the tribes, each marked with a name. Aaron's rod was among them. Moses laid them before the Lord in the sacred tent of witness. When morning came, behold, a marvel. Aaron's rod had blossomed. It budded, it bloomed, and it bore almonds, ripe fruit from dry wood. From death God had drawn forth life. Moses brought out the rods, and every man beheld his own. But only Levi's bore the sign of divine appointment. Then the Lord said unto Moses, "Place Aaron's rod before the ark, to be kept for a token against the rebels, that their complaints cease, and they die not." Moses did as the Lord commanded, and the rod of Aaron was set in the holiest place, a living testimony of God's will. The people trembled. They cried aloud, "Behold, we perish. We are undone. Whoever draws near the tabernacle shall die. Shall we all be consumed?" But no fire fell that day. No plague swept through the tents. Instead, God had answered with a sign of peace. A rod once lifeless, now living. A symbol of his chosen, a warning to the proud, and a promise to the obedient. Thus was Aaron's priesthood confirmed, not by the voice of men, nor by their protest, but by the breath of God upon wood once dead. Numbers 18, the burden and blessing of the priesthood. The Lord spoke unto Aaron with solemn authority. "You and your sons shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. The guilt of the priesthood rests upon you, yet you shall not bear it alone. Call your brethren, the tribe of Levi, to join you. They are given unto you as a gift, holy men to serve the tabernacle. But let no outsider, no stranger, draw near the holy things, lest death strike." The duties were divided with sacred purpose. The Levites would tend to the service, but only the sons of Aaron could approach the altar and the inner veil. This was the charge of the priest, a charge of blood and flame, of oil and incense, holy and perilous. And I, said the Lord, have taken your brethren, the Levites, from among the children of Israel. As a gift for you, they are dedicated to the Lord to perform the work of the tabernacle. But the altar, the sanctuary, the holiest duties, they belonged to Aaron and his sons alone. Any other who dared approach would surely die. Then God declared the priest's portion. Behold, I have given you the charge of my heave offerings, holy gifts from Israel. Every oblation, grain offering, sin offering, trespass offering, they are yours. Most holy they shall be, and you shall eat them in the most sacred place. The first fruits, the best oil, the finest wine, the choicest grain, all were given to the priests. The redemption of the firstborn, of man and beast, and the silver paid for their ransom, all these were the Lord's, and he gave them to Aaron as an eternal covenant. The Levites, though not priests, were not forgotten. They too received tithes from the children of Israel. In return, they were to offer a tithe of the tithe to the priests, a heave offering to the Most High. To the Levites, God said, "You shall have no inheritance in the land. I am your portion and your inheritance among the children of Israel." So the sacred economy of holiness was sealed. The priests would live from the offerings, the Levites would serve the sanctuary, and the people would support them all, each part a living thread in the divine tapestry of Israel. The Lord's command was clear: this shall be a statute forever, a covenant of salt, unbreakable, enduring, a holy order where divine service was both a sacred duty and a living sacrifice. The burden was heavy, the reward was holy. Numbers 19, the red heifer and the waters of purification. And the Lord spoke again to Moses and Aaron, delivering a strange and sacred ordinance. Bring a red heifer, unblemished and without yoke. Let her be brought outside the camp, and there, in the open air, she shall be slain before the priest. Eleazar the priest was to oversee the sacrifice, dipping his finger in her blood and sprinkling it 7 times toward the front of the tabernacle. Then the carcass, her flesh, her hide, her blood, even her dung, was to be wholly burned in fire. Into the flames the priest would cast cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet, a mixture of earth and symbol, of ritual and mystery. The ashes of the heifer were to be gathered by one who is clean and placed outside the camp in a purified place. There they would remain, reserved for the water of separation, a cleansing flood for those touched by death. For any who became unclean through a corpse, even if by accident or necessity, there was now a remedy. On the 3rd day and the 7th, he would be sprinkled with water mingled with the sacred ashes. Only then could he be clean. But woe to the one who defies this law. If he remains unwashed, his uncleanness defiles the sanctuary, and he shall be cut off from among the people. Whether touching the dead, a bone, a grave, or a slain man in the field, the stain of death clung like shadow. Yet through this strange and holy rite, through fire, blood, and water, God offered a path back to purity. Even the one who performed the cleansing was rendered unclean until evening, a reminder that even purification required humility. The ashes cleansed the defiled, but the act of cleansing bore its own cost. This was the statute, a ritual not made for reason but for reverence, a scarlet mystery, a burning heifer, a holy ash that turns away defilement. Thus the living would not be consumed by death, and Israel would dwell once more in the presence of the Holy One. Numbers 20, waters of strife, the sentence of death, and the fall of a priest. In the 1st month, the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Zin. There, in the desolation of Kadesh, Miriam died and was buried, her voice of song silenced in the dust. But the people grew restless, for there was no water. They rose against Moses and Aaron, quarreling bitterly. "Why have you brought us to this barren place to die with our flocks? Would we had perished with our brethren before the Lord." Moses and Aaron fell on their faces at the entrance of the tabernacle, and the glory of the Lord appeared. Then the Lord commanded Moses, "Take the rod, gather the congregation, speak to the rock, and it shall give forth water." But Moses, heart heavy with grief and frustration, took the rod, gathered the people before the rock, and cried, "Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?" And he struck the rock twice with his rod. Water gushed out in abundance, and the people drank. Yet the Lord's voice thundered with sorrowful judgment. "Because you did not believe me to sanctify me before the people, you shall not bring this assembly into the land I have promised." This was Meribah, the waters of strife, where Israel contended with the Lord, and his holiness was revealed in judgment. Then Moses sent messengers to the king of Edom, seeking passage through their land. "We are your kin," they pleaded. "We will not touch field or vine or well, only the king's highway." But Edom refused with threat of war, and Israel turned away. And the Lord spoke to Moses at Mount Hor, at the edge of the land of Edom. "Aaron shall be gathered to his people. He shall not enter the land, for you rebelled at Meribah." So Moses, Aaron, and Eleazar ascended Mount Hor before all the congregation. There, Moses stripped Aaron of his priestly garments and placed them upon Eleazar, his son. Then Aaron died on the mountaintop. When the people saw that Aaron had fallen, they wept for him 30 days, mourning the end of an era and the passing of one who had stood between the living and the dead. Thus closed a chapter of grief and defiance, of sacred water and broken faith, where the leaders of Israel tasted judgment, and the wilderness claimed yet another voice of the old generation. Numbers 21, Serpents, Songs, and Victory over Kings. When the Canaanite king of Arad heard Israel was near, he struck swiftly, capturing some of them. But Israel cried out to the Lord and vowed, "If you deliver them into our hand, we will utterly destroy their cities." The Lord heeded their cry. The enemy was defeated, and their cities reduced to ruin. The place was named Hormah, destruction. Then they journeyed by the way of the Red Sea to circle Edom, and the people grew impatient and bitter. They spoke against God and Moses. "Why have you brought us from Egypt to die in this barren land? There is no bread, no water, and our souls loathe this worthless manna." So the Lord sent fiery serpents among them. Their bites were deadly, and many fell. In fear, the people came to Moses, confessing their sin. "Pray for us," they pleaded, "that the Lord take away the serpents." Moses prayed, and the Lord commanded, "Make a serpent of brass and lift it on a pole. Whoever is bitten and looks upon it shall live." So Moses obeyed, and all who looked lived. From there they journeyed on through the wilderness toward Moab, making camp at Oboth, Ejeabarim, and Zared. At Beer the Lord said, "Gather the people, and I will give them water." And they sang with joy, "Spring up, O well, sing ye unto it. The princes dug it, the nobles of the people, with the lawgiver's staff and rod." Onward they marched, conquering lands beyond Arnon, where the Amorites once ruled. Moses sent messengers to Sihon, king of Heshbon, requesting peaceful passage. But Sihon refused and came out to battle. Israel struck him down and seized all his cities, including mighty Heshbon, once the city of kings. Thus was fulfilled the old proverb, "Come to Heshbon, rebuild the city of Sihon." Fire went out from Heshbon, a flame from Sihon's halls. It consumed Ar of Moab and the heights of Arnon. Israel dwelled in the conquered cities and pressed on toward Bashan. Then Og, king of Bashan, rose against them with his army at Edrei. But the Lord spoke to Moses, "Fear him not. I have delivered him into your hand along with his people and land. Do to him as you did to Sihon." And they did. Og and all his forces were struck down. Not one remained, and the land fell to Israel. Thus in fire and serpent and song and judgment and conquest the Lord proved mighty. And the wilderness, once a place of thirst and trial, became the stage for triumph. Numbers 22, Balaam and the unseen sword. Israel camped in the plains of Moab, just beyond the Jordan. Balak, king of Moab, saw what Israel had done to the Amorites, and fear seized him. Terrified of their numbers, he sought help from the mystic Balaam, son of Peor, in Peor. He sent elders with rewards in hand, Come, curse this people. They cover the earth like dust. Perhaps with your words I can drive them back. Balaam, a seer for hire, told them, Lodge here tonight. I will bring word from the Lord. God came to Balaam and asked, Who are these men? Balaam answered, and God said, You shall not go with them. You shall not curse this people. They are blessed. Balaam rose and sent them away with God's word. Balak, relentless, sent more noble messengers with richer promises. I will promote you with great honor, they said. Only curse them for me. But Balaam answered, Even if Balak gave me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord. Yet stay again this night. God came again and said, If the men come to call you, rise and go with them. But only the word I speak shall you say. So Balaam saddled his donkey and went. But the Lord's anger burned because he went, and the angel of the Lord stood in the way, sword drawn. The donkey saw what Balaam could not. She turned aside into a field. Balaam struck her. Again the angel blocked the path. The donkey crushed Balaam's foot against a wall. Again he struck her. A third time, the angel stood in a narrow place where none could turn. The donkey fell beneath Balaam, and he beat her in fury. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth. What have I done to you that you've struck me these 3 times? Balaam answered, blind with rage, because you mocked me. If I had a sword, I'd kill you now. The donkey replied, Am I not your donkey, whom you've always ridden? Have I ever done this before? Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel, sword in hand. He bowed low in terror. The angel said, Why have you struck your donkey? I stood to oppose you. Had she not turned, I would have slain you and spared her. Balaam cried, I have sinned. If it displeases you, I will return. But the angel said, Go with the men, but speak only what I command. So Balaam went on to meet Balak, who greeted him at the city of Moab with eager hands. Why didn't you come sooner? Am I not able to honor you? Balaam replied, I've come, but I can only speak what God puts in my mouth. Thus begins a tale of prophecy and restraint, of kings who begged for curses and a prophet who must bless, of unseen angels and talking beasts, proof that no one thwarts the word of the Lord. Numbers 23. The mountain of blessing Balaam stood on the high place of Baal, facing the vast camp of Israel. At Balak's command, altars rose, 7 in all, each crowned with a bull and a ram. The prophet turned aside, seeking the voice of God. God met him, and Balaam returned with a word, a flame in his mouth. Balak waited, hoping for curses. But Balaam spoke, How shall I curse whom God has not cursed? How shall I defy whom the Lord has not defied? From the heights I behold them, a people set apart, dwelling alone, not reckoned among the nations. Let me die the death of the righteous, let my end be like his. Balak's face twisted in frustration. What have you done? I summoned you to curse my enemies, and behold, you bless them. Balaam stood firm. Must I not speak what the Lord puts in my mouth? Unyielding, Balak brought him to another height, the field of Zophim on the peak of Pisgah. Again, 7 altars, again burnt offerings, and again Balaam turned aside to seek the word. God met him once more. Balaam returned, the message burning on his lips. Rise up, Balak, and hear. God is not a man that he should lie, nor the Son of Man that he should repent. Has he said, and shall he not do it? Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He has not beheld iniquity in Jacob, neither seen perverseness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither divination against Israel. What God has wrought shall be declared among the nations. Balak cried out, At least don't bless them. But Balaam answered, Did I not tell you, I must do all that the Lord commands? Desperate, Balak brought him yet again to another place, top of Peor, overlooking the wilderness. Perhaps here God would relent. 7 altars rose once more, a final hope, another offering. Balaam looked toward the wilderness, and the Spirit of God came upon him. To be continued in the next chapter. This chapter resounds with divine resolve. No altar, no incantation, no king's bribe could twist the will of the Almighty. Balaam, though sought as a weapon, became a vessel of blessing. For what God has blessed, no man may curse. Numbers 24. The unstoppable blessing. Balaam saw that the Lord was pleased to bless Israel. He did not seek omens as before, but fixed his gaze toward the wilderness. And behold, the tribes of Israel stretched below in order and strength. The Spirit of God came upon him. He lifted his voice and spoke a vision, a declaration from the man whose eyes were opened, who heard the words of the Most High and saw the Almighty in a trance. With eyes unveiled, how fair are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel, as valleys spread forth like gardens by rivers, like aloes planted by the Lord, and cedars beside waters. He shall pour water from his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. His king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. God brought him forth out of Egypt. He has the strength of a wild ox. He shall consume the nations, break their bones, and pierce them through with his arrows. He couches. He lies as a lion. Who dares rouse him? Blessed is he who blesses you, O Israel, and cursed is he who curses you. Fury consumed Balak. He struck his hands together and cried, I summoned you to curse my enemies, and 3 times you have blessed them. Flee to your home. I would have honored you greatly, but the Lord has withheld your reward. But Balaam stood his ground. Did I not speak? I told your messengers, even if you gave me your house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord. And now I will tell you what shall befall your people in the latter days. Again he prophesied, I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star shall rise out of Jacob, and a scepter shall come forth from Israel. He shall crush the corners of Moab and destroy all the sons of tumult. Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall fall, for Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he who has dominion, and he shall destroy the survivors of the city. He looked upon Amalek and spoke, Amalek was first among the nations, but his latter end shall be destruction. He saw the Kenites and said, Strong is your dwelling, but you shall be carried away by Assur. He continued, Alas, who shall live when God does this? Ships shall come from the coast of Kittim. They shall afflict Assur and Eber, and they too shall perish. Then Balaam rose and departed to his own land. Balak too went his way. Thus ends the final oracle. No sorcery could shift the divine will. No king could buy silence. Balaam, the seer of open eyes, became the mouth of God, declaring not only blessing, but the vision of a rising star, a conquering scepter, and the fate of nations in the hands of Israel's God. Numbers 25. The zeal of the covenant. While Israel dwelt in the plains of Moab, the people fell into sin. They defiled themselves with the women of Moab, who invited them to the sacrifices of their gods. Israel ate, bowed down, and joined themselves to Baal Peor. The wrath of the Lord was kindled against them. The Lord said to Moses, Take all the leaders of the people and hang them up before the sun, that my fierce anger may be turned away from Israel. So Moses said to the judges of Israel, Slay every one of your men who have joined themselves to Baal Peor. And behold, a man of Israel brought a Midianite woman into the camp before the eyes of Moses and all the congregation, while they wept at the door of the tabernacle. But Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, saw it. Zeal surged within him. He rose from the midst of the congregation, took a javelin in hand, and followed them into the tent. There he thrust the spear through both the man of Israel and the woman of Midian, and the plague was stayed, but not before 24,000 fell. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, Phinehas has turned away my wrath from Israel. He was zealous for my sake among them. Therefore say, Behold, I give him my covenant of peace. It shall be for him and his descendants after him, a covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his God and made atonement for the children of Israel. The name of the slain man of Israel was Zimri. a prince of the tribe of Simeon. The woman was Cosbi, daughter of Zur, a prince of Midian. And the Lord spoke again, "Vex the Midianites and smite them, for they troubled you with their wiles, and with the whoredoms of Cosbi, who was slain in the day of the plague." Thus the zeal of one man quenched divine fury. Where the people had betrayed the covenant through lust and idolatry, one act of righteous judgment broke the curse. Phinehas stood between the living and the dead, and the plague ceased. The covenant of peace was forged not by ease, but by holy fire. Numbers 26. A new generation stands counted. After the plague had swept through the camp, the Lord spoke again. From the plains of Moab, near the river Jordan and facing Jericho, God commanded Moses and Eleazar, son of Aaron, "Number the sons of Israel again, all who are 20 years old and upward, all who are fit for battle." And so they began. Tribe by tribe, clan by clan, names were called, and destinies weighed. From Reuben, Israel's firstborn, 43,730 warriors. From Simeon, once mighty but now diminished after judgment, 22,200. From Gad, sons of strength, 40,500. From Judah, lion-hearted and blessed, 76,500. From Issachar, sons of understanding, 64,300. From Zebulun, those who go forth with courage, 60,500. From Ephraim, children of Joseph, 32,500. From Manasseh, his brother, grown greatly, 52,700. From Benjamin, the youngest tribe, 45,600. From Dan, many in number, 64,400. From Asher, men of promise, 53,400. From Naphtali, swift and bold, 45,400. The total of the sons of Israel, 601,730. These were the warriors, the sons who would enter the land. The Lord commanded the land be divided among them, inheritance granted by number and lot, tribe by tribe, family by family. The greater received more, the lesser less, yet each would have their due. The Levites too were numbered separately, from a month old and upward, sons of Gershon, Kohath, and Merari, guardians of the sanctuary. They numbered 23,000, yet they were given no land, for the Lord was their inheritance. And of those counted before in Sinai, none remained, save Caleb son of Jephunneh and Joshua son of Nun. All the rest had perished in the wilderness, as the Lord had sworn. They had seen Egypt, but not the promised land. Thus a new generation stood, counted not in rebellion but in readiness, numbered for war, set for inheritance, chosen to walk where their fathers fell. Numbers 27. Daughters, Succession, and the Mountain of Farewell. In the quiet of the camp, 5 brave daughters stood before Moses and the leaders, Mahlah, Noah, Milcah, and Tirzah, daughters of Zelophehad. Their father had died in the wilderness, not with Korah's rebels, but in his own sin. He left no sons. With courage they spoke, "Why should our father's name vanish, because he had no son? Give us a portion among our father's kin." Moses brought their plea before the Lord, and the Lord answered, "The daughters speak rightly. You shall surely give them an inheritance." And a law was born for all Israel. If a man dies with no son, his inheritance shall pass to his daughter. If no daughter, then to his brothers, and so on, so that names and lands would not fade. Then the Lord called Moses to a higher matter. "Go up into Mount Abarim. Behold the land I have promised to give to Israel, but you shall not enter it, for you rebelled at Meribah when you struck the rock instead of honoring me." Moses, the faithful shepherd of Israel, did not beg for his own life. Instead, he pleaded, "Let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over this people, one to go out and come in before them, that the congregation be not as sheep without a shepherd." And the Lord said, "Take Joshua son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, lay your hand upon him." Before Eleazar the priest and the entire assembly, Moses laid his hands upon Joshua. He stood him forth, he charged him with leadership. Eleazar would guide him by the judgment of the Urim before the Lord. So Joshua the servant became the chosen successor of Moses. The torch was passed, not by the ambition of man but by the command of God. and Israel would not be left wandering. They would follow a new leader into the land of promise. Eternal flames of worship. Numbers 28, the fire of the Lord, offerings that mark the days. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Command the children of Israel and say to them, my offering, my bread for my fire, my sweet savor, offer it to me in its appointed season. Daily, without fail, every morning and every evening a lamb was to be offered. 2 lambs a day, a continual burnt offering. Unleavened flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, and a drink offering poured unto the Lord, a perpetual sacrifice, a flame that never sleeps. On the Sabbath day, 2 lambs unblemished doubled the daily fire. Flour and oil again, a pleasing aroma to the Lord, a holy rest made holy by sacrifice. At the beginning of each month blow the trumpets and bring forth offerings. 2 young bulls, a ram, 7 lambs without blemish, each with its grain and drink, a rising smoke unto the heavens. Also a goat, for sin, cleansing the people before the Lord. New moons, new mercies, in the 1st month on the 14th day. Passover, on the 15th, a feast for 7 days. No work, only offerings. 2 bulls, 1 ram, 7 lambs each day, plus a goat for sin. Day after day the fire did not cease, the memory of deliverance wrapped in smoke and flame. In the 7th month on the 1st day, trumpets shall sound, a holy convocation, no work. Offerings as before, bulls, ram, lambs, goat, a sweet savor echoing into the new year. On the 10th day, Day of Atonement, afflict your souls, offer as commanded. The fire shall burn even when hearts are humbled. Sin shall be confessed and mercy sought in flame. On the 15th day of the 7th month, Feast of Tabernacles, 7 days of sacrifice, each day with bulls, rams, lambs, and goats. A solemn feast, a celebration of the wilderness journey. The offerings shift slightly each day, yet always include fire, flour, oil, and wine. The Lord's table remains abundant. Each offering, whether for guilt, gratitude, or remembrance, was not of man's invention but heaven's command. Each lamb, each bull, each cup of wine testified to a holy rhythm, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, a nation's life woven into sacrifice. And Moses spoke all these commands to the people of Israel, that they might keep the fire burning and the covenant alive before the face of the living God. Numbers 29, Trumpets, Atonement, and the Festival of Fire. The voice of the Lord thundered once more to Moses. In the 7th month, on the 1st day, blow the trumpets. Declare a sacred assembly. Do no laborious work. Offer unto me a burnt offering, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 7 lambs without blemish. Grain offerings shall accompany them, fine flour mingled with oil. Also 1 male goat as a sin offering. This shall rise like incense before me, a sweet savor beyond the daily fire. On the 10th day of this 7th month, Day of Atonement, a solemn day. Afflict your souls, come before me with fire, 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 spotless lambs, each with their grain offerings. Add 1 male goat for sin to make atonement for the people. All this above the continual burnt offering. Then comes the 15th day. The Feast of Tabernacles begins. 7 days of holy convocation. The people shall dwell in tents, remembering the wilderness. Each day fire upon fire. Day 1, 13 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs, flawless. A goat for sin. Grain offerings with oil as prescribed. Day 2, 12 bulls, just 1 less, yet all else remains. Day 3, 11 bulls, the sacred pattern continues. Day 4, 10 bulls, each day a gradual descent. Day 5, 9 bulls. Day 6, 8 bulls. Day 7, 7 bulls, still 2 rams and 14 lambs each day, still the goat for sin. A sacred countdown etched in smoke and sacrifice. All these in addition to the daily burnt offerings, their grain and drink. On the 8th day, a solemn assembly. The feast concludes, yet the fire still rises. 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 lambs, all pure, and again a goat for sin. An offering of final honor, a closing flame. Each offering exact, appointed, and sacred. Not 1 bull more, not 1 lamb less. The fire did not die, for the Lord had commanded, let this be your devotion, your holy rhythm, your sacrifice of obedience. And Moses declared all these feasts and offerings to the people. that Israel might walk in the light of God's presence with trumpet blasts, repentant hearts, and unceasing flame. Numbers 30. Vows before the Almighty. Moses gathered the heads of the tribes. The command was clear, unshakable. When a man vows a vow unto the Lord, or binds himself by oath, he shall not break his word. He must do all that his mouth has spoken. The weight of words was heavy, and so the law addressed each voice. If a young woman dwelling in her father's house utters a vow to the Lord, and her father hears and holds his peace, then her vow shall stand unbroken. But if, when he hears it, the father forbids it, the vow is void, the Lord releases her. A father's silence is consent. His voice can dissolve the bond. If a woman is married and utters a vow, and her husband hears and says nothing, her vow holds firm. But if he disallows her upon hearing, then her words are overturned, and the Lord counts it not against her. If a widow or divorced woman makes a vow, it shall stand. She is alone, and her words rise directly before the Lord. But if a woman in her husband's house binds herself, and he later hears and forbids it, he shall bear the guilt of nullifying her words. The vow is broken, but the cost is his. Thus, silence is agreement. Interference is authority. Yet the final judge is God, who sees the heart and holds the vow sacred. These are the statutes the Lord gave to Moses concerning vows, between man and God, woman and husband, daughter and father, a solemn charge for a holy people. Every vow is a covenant carved in sound, a sacred echo not easily silenced. Break it lightly, and you war against heaven itself, but keep it, and you walk in step with the divine. Numbers 31. The vengeance of the Lord upon Midian. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Avenge the children of Israel upon Midian. Afterward you shall be gathered to your people." So Moses summoned the warriors. From each tribe 1,000 were chosen, 12,000 armed for battle. With them went Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, bearing the holy instruments and trumpets of war. The sword of Israel fell upon Midian. Kings were slain, Evi, Recham, Zur, Hur, and Reba, mighty ones of Midian. And Balaam, the false prophet who spoke for gain, fell beneath the blade. The cities were burned and all spoils taken. Yet the sons of Israel spared the women and children. Moses, returning from the camp, burned with holy anger. "Why have you saved the women?" he thundered. They, through Balaam's counsel, brought Israel to trespass at Peor. Because of them, plague fell upon us. Command was given, kill every male among the little ones. Slay every woman who had known a man. Only the virgins, young and untouched, shall live. Then Moses ordered purification. "Cleanse yourselves," he said, "for you have touched death. Purify with the water of separation on the 3rd day and 7th. Cleanse every garment, vessel, and weapon touched by blood or corpse." The Lord spoke to Eleazar the priest concerning the division of spoils. Half went to the warriors, half to the rest of the congregation. A tribute was taken for the Lord, one portion in 500 from the warriors, one in 50 from the people. Gold, silver, brass, sheep, oxen, and captives were counted and apportioned. From the warriors' share alone, 675,000 sheep, 72,000 oxen, 61,000 donkeys, 32,000 maidens untouched by man. The commanders came to Moses, hearts stirred. "We have counted the men. Not one soul is missing." In gratitude, they brought an offering, jewels of gold, chains, bracelets, rings, earrings, to make atonement before the Lord. And so the Lord's vengeance was completed. Midian fell for its seduction. Israel stood, purged and whole, beneath the gaze of their God. Numbers 32. The bargain beyond Jordan. The sons of Reuben and Gad, keepers of great herds, beheld the lands of Jazer and Gilead, broad pastures, fertile and rich. They came before Moses, Eleazar the priest, and the leaders of Israel, and said, "Let this land be ours. It is fit for our cattle. Bring us not over Jordan." But Moses' countenance darkened. "Shall your brothers go to war while you remain here? Shall you discourage the hearts of Israel, as your fathers did when they despised the promised land and turned back at Kadesh Barnea? 40 years we wandered because of that sin, until that generation perished. And now you rise in their stead. Will you provoke the Lord's wrath anew? The sons of Gad and Reuben answered with solemn resolve. We will build folds for our flocks and cities for our little ones here, but we will not rest. We will cross over armed before Israel and fight until every tribe has their inheritance. Only then shall we return. So Moses replied, If you do this, if you arm for war and cross the Jordan before the Lord, and the land is subdued, then this land shall be yours. But if you do not, your sin will find you out. Do what you vow and keep your word. And they pledged again, We will obey. We will not claim our homes until every warrior of Israel rests in their possession. Moses then gave command concerning them to Eleazar, Joshua, and the tribal heads. If they fulfill their vow, give them Gilead and the land of Jazer for their heritage. And so Reuben and Gad, with the half-tribe of Manasseh, received the land east of Jordan, from Aroer by the river Arnon, through the plains of Meribah, to mighty Gilead and Bashan, lands wrested from Sihon king of the Amorites and Og king of Bashan. They rebuilt strongholds, Dibon, Adaroth, Aroer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elealeh, Kiriathaim, Nebo, and Baal-meon, fortified cities with names restored or renamed in their own tongue. Thus did the sons of Reuben, Gad, and half the tribe of Manasseh secure their dwelling beyond Jordan, but not in rest. For with solemn oath they bore arms and went before the Lord's hosts, determined to fight shoulder to shoulder with their brethren, until all tribes found peace in the land sworn to their fathers. And Israel moved forward, tribes united by vow, driven by promise, and tested by loyalty in the wilderness of destiny. Numbers 33, the march of the redeemed. These are the journeys of the children of Israel who went forth from the land of Egypt by the hand of Moses and Aaron. At the Lord's command, Moses recorded each step, each camp, from Egypt's chains to the threshold of promise. They set out from Ramesses in the first month, on the 15th day, the day after the Passover, when God's strong hand shattered Egypt. The Egyptians still buried their firstborn when Israel marched out bold and triumphant. From Ramesses to Succoth, then on to Etham by the edge of the wilderness. God turned them back to Pi-hahiroth near the Red Sea. There the sea split, and Pharaoh's pride drowned in fury. From that shore they entered the wilderness of Shur, then Marah, where bitter waters turned sweet, and then to Elim, where palm trees shaded 12 fountains. They pressed forward through desolate places, the Red Sea wilderness, Dophkah, Alush, and Rephidim, where no water flowed. Yet even there God brought forth streams from the rock. From Mount Sinai, where the voice of God thundered, they journeyed on, Kibroth Hattava, where craving brought a plague, Hazeroth, and countless other camps, dozens of stations across the burning wilderness, through trial, rebellion, and mercy. Each name, each station, marked by struggle and grace, Rissah, Kehelathah, Mount Shepher, and Harada, Macheloth, Tahath, Tara, and Mithka, Hashmona, Moseroth, Bene-Jaakan, and beyond. They came to Ezion-Geber, then to the plains of Moab by the Jordan near Jericho. Here the journey paused, but the promise stood near. And in these plains the Lord spoke, When you pass into the land of Canaan, drive out the inhabitants. Destroy their carved images, demolish their high places. Take the land and settle it, for I have given it to you. Divide it by lot among the tribes, large to the many, small to the few. But he warned, If you let them dwell among you, they shall be thorns in your sides and snares in your eyes. And what I thought to do to them, I shall do to you. Thus ends the record of the wanderings, a map written in sweat and fire. From Egypt's chains to Jordan's banks, the children of Israel marched not alone. Behind each encampment stood a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night, the presence of the Holy One leading them onward to destiny. Numbers 34, the borders of destiny. In the plains of Moab, by the edge of the Jordan across from Jericho, the voice of the Lord thundered to Moses. Speak to the children of Israel. The land of Canaan is your inheritance. its borders carved not by mortal hands, but by my decree. The southern border begins at the Salt Sea, drawing a line through the ascent of Akrabim, across Zin, past the threshold of Kadesh Barnea. It extends to Hazaradar and Asmon, then strikes the river of Egypt, ending at the sea's mouth. The western border, the Great Sea, stands in its vastness, a natural wall of water. The northern border runs from the Great Sea to Mount Hor, stretches to the entrance of Hamath, reaches Zedad, then across Ziphron, ending at Hazar Enan. The eastern border draws down from Hazar Enan to Shephem, descends to Riblah on the east of Ain, then traces along the Sea of Galilee and flows downward to the Jordan, resting again at the Salt Sea. These are the boundaries, said the Lord, of the land you shall possess. Then came the divine order of stewardship. The Lord declared, "This is the land divided by lot among the 9.5 tribes. For the tribes of Reuben and Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh have already received their inheritance across the Jordan, eastward toward the sunrise." And the Lord appointed men, leaders of each tribe, to oversee the dividing of the land. From Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh, the faithful spy, now entrusted with holy charge. From Simeon, Shemuel son of Ammihud. From Benjamin, Elidad son of Chislon. From Dan, Buki son of Jogli. From the children of Joseph, Haniel son of Ephod of Manasseh, and Kemuel son of Shipton of Ephraim. From Zebulun, Elizaphan son of Parnak. From Issachar, Paltiel son of Azan. From Asher, Ahihud son of Shalomi. From Naphtali, Pedahel son of Ammihud. These were the men named by God to divide the land, a sacred inheritance marked not by conquest alone, but by obedience to the Most High. Thus, the borders of promise were drawn, not with swords, but with the finger of God upon the dust of destiny. Numbers 35, Cities of Refuge and the Weight of Blood. In the plains of Moab, across the Jordan near Jericho, the voice of the Lord rang out to Moses with solemn instruction. "Command the children of Israel, when you possess the land I give you, grant the Levites cities to dwell in. These shall not be part of their inheritance, for the Levites own no land, but shall be taken from the other tribes." 48 cities were to be given to the sons of Levi, each surrounded by common land for their flocks and herds, a sacred space for those set apart. 6 of these cities were to be cities of refuge, sanctuaries for the one who kills another unwittingly, not with hate, nor with premeditated malice. There, the manslayer might flee and live until justice speaks. 3 cities east of the Jordan and 3 within Canaan's bounds. These 6 cities would serve all, both Israelite and foreigner, as a haven from the avenger of blood. But the law made a grim distinction. If the weapon was of iron, stone, or wood, and struck with intent, the act was murder. The murderer must die. The avenger of blood shall be the executioner, and none may ransom the guilty from that fate. Yet if the death came by accident, without enmity, without deceit, the killer shall dwell in the city of refuge until the high priest dies. Only then may he return to his land in peace. But if he leaves the city before that priest's death and is found by the avenger, his blood is upon him. He shall not be guiltless. The land itself must not be defiled. For blood pollutes the soil, says the Lord, and only the blood of the one who shed it can cleanse it. The land cannot be atoned for with money or bribes. Life for life is the law. Moreover, no testimony shall condemn a person to death without the voice of 2 or 3 witnesses. One alone shall not seal the fate of another. These were not mere rules, they were divine decrees, bound by justice, sealed in mercy, markers of a society built not upon vengeance, but upon righteousness and restraint. Thus the Lord gave Israel the pattern, sanctuary for the innocent, judgment for the guilty, and a warning that the land they would soon inhabit must remain holy, untainted by the blood of the slain or the injustice of men. Numbers 36, Daughters of Inheritance and the Boundaries of Legacy. In the final chapter of Numbers, a matter of justice and heritage rose among the sons of Manasseh. The clan leaders of Gilead, descendants of Machir son of Manasseh, came before Moses and the princes of Israel with a question burning with concern for the future. O Lord appointed leader, what shall become of the inheritance of Zelophehad's daughters if they marry outside our tribe? Will their portion pass to another tribe, and the borders of our inheritance be diminished forever? These were the daughters who had once stood boldly before Moses, claiming the right to their father's name and land, for Zelophehad had died with no sons. The Lord had granted them their plea. But now a new tension stirred. What if marriage unraveled what justice had restored? Moses, seeking divine counsel, received an answer full of wisdom and restraint. The tribe of the sons of Joseph speaks rightly. This is the decree of the Lord. Let the daughters of Zelophehad marry whom they will, but only within their own tribe. In this way, no inheritance shall pass from tribe to tribe, and each tribe shall keep to its ancestral boundaries. And so it was decreed for all of Israel, when daughters possess an inheritance, they must marry within their own tribe, that the land may remain within the family line. No portion was to shift across tribal lines by the ties of marriage. The inheritance must flow like a river within its banks, undiverted and undiluted. The daughters of Zelophehad, Mahlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Noah, obeyed. They married their cousins within the tribe of Manasseh, ensuring their father's legacy endured unbroken. Thus the book closes not with war or judgment, but with preservation of justice, land, and lineage. It ends with a vision of a people called to order, to memory, and to the covenant that binds them not only to God but to each other, across generations. These are the commandments and the judgments, it concludes, which the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses unto the children of Israel in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho.